Welcome to the Tuckcast with a splash of bourbon, presented by Tuckaseegee Fly Shop and Guide Service, located at 3 Depot Street, Bryson City, North Carolina, and 530 West Main Street, Sylva, North Carolina. Tuckaseegee Fly Shop and Guide Service is your #1 stop prior and after your epic fly fishing adventure in western North Carolina. Tuckaseegee Fly Shop and Guide Service proudly carries industry-leading brands such as Sims, Orvis, Corkers, Sage, Rio, Scientific Anglers, Hatch, Nautilus, Lamson, Fish Pond, Scott Fly Rods, Echo, Umpqua, Hairline, Nature, Spirit, Peak, Norvise, plus a large selection of flies and streamers. Check out www.tuckflyshop.com for stream flow information, book a guided trip, or even shop for your favorite Tuckaseegee Fly Shop gear. Be sure to follow the crew on Facebook at Tuckaseegee Fly Shop, Instagram at Tuck Fly Shop, and on YouTube at Tuckaseegee Fly Shop. For Bobby, the Bearded Wonder Bennett, Coach Dale Diesel Collins, I'm your host, Shannon Big Mess Messer. Let's jump into today's exciting episode. All right. Super excited about today's episode.
Yeah.
We got people coming in from, what, 3 locations?
3 locations.
3 locations.
The power of technology.
Power of technology. Bobby the Bearded Wonder Bennett. I'm your host, Shannon Big Mess Messer, coming to you from Sylva, North Carolina. Coach Dale Diesel Collins is out on assignment, coming to us from Webster, North Carolina. And, of course, we have 3 gentlemen in West Yellowstone, Montana. We have co-owners of Big Sky Anglers, Justin Spence and Joe Moore. And, of course, the one and only guru guide, marketing guru, Steve Hoovler. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Hey, guys.
Hey, man. How y'all doing?
Great to be here. Thanks for having us.
Well,
Excited.
We're excited so far. Seems like everything's going okay. Folks, this is going to be an epic first for Tuckaseegee Fly Shop, Big Sky Anglers, of course. Want you folks to stick around toward the end of the podcast. We'll get our fishing report, a guide tip here for the local area, which is on fire right now as far as the fishing. So it's going to be a great episode. And these guys right here.
What is Dale doing? Sorry to interrupt you.
Is that you, Dale?
He's
blowing speakers everywhere in cars.
Now his video's paused.
Oh, boy. There we go. So anyway, it sounds like we lost Dale.
Man, I'm just trying. So my Wi-Fi has already failed.
There he goes. There he is. All right. Right.
And I'm just trying to find the best LTE here. Okay?
I got you.
Always. You lost it. Always.
Perfect. Well, the great news is, Dale, if you have to go outside, it's not hailing right now.
He's outside now.
He is outside?
That's a good view, actually.
Yeah.
Excellent. So is what we have here today.
This is why we bought this house.
There you go. Perfect, man. But we have the guys on here from Big Sky Anglers, and relationship started 3 years ago, sir, Bobby, Dale?
Well, it was probably 4 years ago.
There you go.
I'd say.
And with these hosted guide trip opportunities out here with the guys
Bobby.
at Big Sky Anglers, and
Bobby and
so
Steve.
here we are. There we go.
So cool. So today we're going to kind of go through like what we do on these trips, why we do it, what's fun about it. These guys know more about it than we do, so they're going to be able to talk. We got some videos to play. So for those of you watching on YouTube, you can go through and see some of the videos, some of the pictures, some of the scenery, some of the wildlife, all that good stuff that's out there, because you're kind of fishing in a zoo sometimes, it feels like, which is kind of cool. So we'll go through all that with them. Let me get on the right screen here so that we are ready to get into this. Shannon, do you want to go through?
Yeah. So one of the things I do want to ask, so we can really, give an introduction to the folks out there for the first time who may not know about Big Sky Anglers. But if Justin, Joe, whoever wants to kind of give us the history of how Big Sky Anglers got started and how you got to where you're at today with us on a podcast.
Go ahead. You want me to go ahead? Okay. Yeah, well, man, Big Sky Anglers kind of started a long time ago, but we were all each, Justin, Jonathan, and I were all kind of doing our own thing. And Big Sky Anglers it basically started in my garage in 2004 2005, and kind of did my own thing for a little while. And a few years later, or more than a few years later, 2016, we decided to kind of put our heads together, if you will, and we bought Bud Lily's Trout Shop and changed the name and called it Big Sky Angler. So it went from, my garage to a full-scale brick and mortar chaos, craziness, and thankfully Hoovie came along and jumped right in with us and is that's kind of the beginnings, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah. So with that being said, there now you said Steve came on with you there, and really, I guess he does a lot for you. I've seen what he does a lot. So, Steve, kind of take over a little bit and tell us a little bit about your history. Kind of maybe back to your college days, because I know you have some real important influences in you on the fly fishing end, and take us down that path there momentarily.
Yeah. Well, I'm from back east, from Pennsylvania, and grew up fishing back there. Was lucky enough to get introduced to this area and to fishing in Montana by a high school teacher, Fran Goff, who is still super influential in my life and in a lot of people's. Still runs around out here and fishes his guts out. So he brought myself and some buddies out when we were, just barely, high school age, and got introduced to all this. And then, I went to college back east at Penn State, and would spend summers out here in West working in a fly shop. I worked at Blue Ribbon Flies all through college, and would begrudgingly leave every August, right in the middle of the summer, and go back to school. Loved all the fishing back there. Spent a bunch of time fishing that. Was really lucky in my time there to spend time with a lot of really, I think legendary people like Greg Hoovler and Joe Humphreys, and people that taught me a lot and have taught, added so much to the industry, to the sport. And then wrapped up school and came back out here and jumped right into the business. And I've been working in fly shops and owned part of a fly shop for a bunch of years, and outfitted for a bunch of years, and hosted trips internationally. And these guys got together and decided to join forces and build Big Sky Anglers in its current form. And I couldn't, I was like, bring me along,
That's cool.
And so we've been at it ever since. And we've all known each other. I mean, I've known all these guys since we were all teenagers running around here chasing trout and other things. So
that's cool, man.
Yeah.
So one of the things that's unique about, I guess, your shop, and probably just a few others in there, is y'all have certain permits to certain areas that aren't available anymore. Am I correct in that?
Yeah. I think that's one of the big puzzle pieces here, is that especially the Henry's Fork permit. We're really fortunate to be really one of only 2 outfitters in Montana that can guide on the Henry's Fork. And so the Henry's Fork overall only has 7 outfitting permits, which, to put in contrast, the Madison River has 300. Yeah,
300 easily.
Something. And it's just a stark contrast. The fork is a much more regulated fishery, and especially commercially. So we're really lucky and fortunate to have that. And that's really one of the things that's brought so many good people to this business, is the ability to the privilege really to be able to guide down there.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. That's cool.
Now, recently, and I say recently, within the last, 2 to 3 years, Big Sky Anglers took on the endeavor of a construction project there in town with the lodging. You want to give us a little bit of information on that for our listeners?
Yeah, Joe, you should. That's your baby. Blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah, man. 2 years ago, right now, that was a nightmare. Yeah. We had gotten like 55 inches in 5 days, and we were in full construction mode, and it went
55
blue.
inches of snow, right?
Snow. Yeah, and I mean, the roads were all shut down. There were drifts like 8 to 10 feet tall, and I was just wanting to be in Argentina.
So that hits on a good point. What's the temp there right now? Because this is
it's about 15.
26th.
It's about 15 degrees above zero right now.
Yeah. What was it this morning?
I had 15 below up on the hill.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
It was a cold morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The old blue truck barely started this morning, boys.
Yeah.
Oh man, the blue truck.
But it did.
It's
It
faithful,
started.
brother. It's faithful, Steve. We had a balmy 51 this morning.
Yeah.
I did.
And a high of 60 something, 70 something. Yeah, it was
It's
nice.
going to change
above zero.
Yeah,
Above
just-
zero.
Yeah. I said balmy, Dale. I think you're smart.
Yeah.
fellas.
You can look behind Dale. It's pretty nice out, actually. It's a nice day.
Man, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's moved
This
again.
is currently the best LTE spot I have on the deck right now.
Perfect.
Yeah.
It'll change.
So yeah, fellas, you know, Joe really pulled us through that first winter. Jonathan and I, I've been for years going to Argentina every winter. Jonathan was in Chile, and Joe was here and pulled through a shop remodel, and then getting the Golden Stone Inn open, started. And so we that first winter, Joe was involved in kind of the fly shop remodel. Second winter, you were still on the ground here with the construction project. So, that Golden Stone Inn opened. We've now had 2 summers under our belt. So it's a great set of cabins where we, have our own little kind of common area in the middle of fire pits, and guests can stay with us. And it's just a really cool scene when you come fishing with us now to be able to offer that to our guests. And Joe, you definitely,
There was 2.
We owe you for
Herculean effort over here by the bearded one.
So it's been a great addition to our outfitting business, and fly shops have a comfortable place to go hang out with guests, and really nice.
They're really nice. Like, it's very well done. There's actually when we play a couple of the videos that I've got, there's some pictures and stuff of it. So you folks can see it, and obviously they can go to the website too. What's the website for the Golden Stone?
GoldenStoneInn.com.
Yeah.
There you go. So if you want to see it, you can go and pull that up and kind of check it out and look at it and everything. Anybody that's out there listening. So do y'all want to go ahead and jump into kind of what we do with you guys, the hosted trips, and what that's all about, and kind of talk about water and fish and wildlife and all the fun ins and outs and stuff. And Dale, feel free to jump in, interrupt me, and ask questions. I'm going to play more with the technology, so I'm going to let Dale and Shannon do more of the questions right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of worried about the delay I've got going on, so I'm not sure.
You're good on our end so far.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, perfect.
Good deal.
Yeah.
You guys have, we worked together here for a few years on this now, and it seems like every year these trips get a little bit more dialed in and streamlined, and that only benefits the guests. And it's so exciting to watch, especially our folks come from Western North Carolina or the Southeast region and step into it might as well be Mars to us. I mean, the geography is completely different. So it's amazing how you guys have just streamlined and just made that so easy a transition from getting off a plane, getting into a vehicle, and all of a sudden we're in your world in your hands. It's great.
It is great, right? I remember going to the airport with you the first time we picked. Was it Bobby up?
Yeah,
I think it was.
it was me.
Was it Bobby?
Me and
Yeah, Bobby and Jack.
Yeah. We drove through a forest fire on the way down.
Yeah, we did.
The beginnings of it.
We did. I do remember that. That was fun, man.
Yeah.
So on our end, we're always kind of like, holy crap! I really hope we can, make this work. Is it on your end? Do y'all ever feel that pressure? Like, holy shit! I hope we can do this.
Of course, yeah. I mean, like, I feel like every trip is like that, but I do feel like, we've been doing trips like this for a long, long time. We talked about the Golden Stone Inn a little bit ago, and we've all probably got 15 plus years of running around and putting trips together like this and using someone else's lodging. And you're always, in a lot of ways, compromising the level of service and the type of trip that you can put together because you're operating on their turf and by their rules. And so it's so nice to have our own place where, everything can be catered towards the guests and the schedules. And so that takes a lot of that stress out for me, knowing, that we control a couple of those variables a little more closely than we used to, instead of having to worry about reservations and bumping around from place to place. And is the host going to be nice, and is the we can control the level of service, and that's really important to us. We want to. The cool thing with trips is that you really get to dig in and spend time with people, and that makes it more special. And so we want to make sure that when we do that, that service is really good. So that definitely makes it easier. But sure, I mean, we're nervous about those trips, trying to pull everything off and make sure everything works smoothly.
Hey, especially when the hosts from Tuck Fly Shop, their flight gets delayed and they don't even make it there on time.
Yeah, right.
Your God.
But that's the way it goes. I mean, we've all done enough of these over the years where something's happened in one way or another. And
you just kind of roll with it.
You got to just roll with it. Yeah.
I think something that has always been really different about the group hosted trips is we get a chance to visit with you guys. You bring clients that you have a bond with, and then you kind of share that with us. And over the course of a multi-day hosted trip like the ones you do, we do together, I think it's a really neat atmosphere throughout the week. It's different. It's a group. There's energy. We talk at night. We make plans for the next day. And I've always enjoyed those multi-day group trips for that reason. I think they take on their own flavor. And
they do.
Yeah.
You get to know people.
Yeah,
right?
You get to know people, hanging around at night, eating dinner, and waking up, and breakfast together, and it's a really good scene. It's different.
It is different. The multi-day allows you to actually bond with somebody longer, right? Or not longer, but you just have more time to bond with somebody in the trip, whether it's you guys or the people you bring out, and you just get to know them.
Yeah. I think that's one of the things that's really special about them, in addition to the fishing, and it's that time.
And
that's right.
Go
ahead, Shannon. Sorry.
So last year, of course, with the with the pandemic that we were all battling, the services that you provided there at the Golden Stone Inn, with of course, with the food there, the meal in the evening time, and sitting around the fire pit, and having dinner and learning Irish jokes, as Steve and Nicholas we didn't know existed until the last night there. You're able to provide that, and it is true. Last year being my second year out, it is about relationships. And we were having this conversation prior to the podcast. It's about that circle of influence and relationships. And you folks do share in that, and you greatly care about it. So we know we have clients that are repeats that can come out there, and it's because of those relationships that you develop yourself and your guides that partake with us out there. So that is part of the journey. It is a process that we should all enjoy, and you guys do a great job of that.
Well, thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Well, and to add to that, in the middle of this pandemic where, traveling is going to be, so suspect, it seems. I mean, I remember I was in the O'Hare airport and saw a dude walk by with like 4 masks on and a shield. And it's like a staunch reminder that, we're traveling in the middle of the pandemic. But when we got there to you guys, all the, the meals on our package, all the food's included. And we were just in a bubble there at the Golden Stone Inn. And it was perfect because every restaurant in West Yellowstone was packed. And I know, coming from our little quiet area in western North Carolina, it was a little too crowded for my comfort. But there at the inn, it was perfect, man. And as this year traveling, I think that's still going to be on everybody's minds. But being in that bubble is perfect, and really just kind of, you sort of forget about everything that's going on. I mean, you're not looking at your phones. You're really looking at your wine glass and how close your feet might be to that fire. So, I mean, that's all you got to worry about.
Nice.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
Good.
So let's get into the type of fishing when we're out there in August, and of course we got a trip in September as well. Let's let our listeners, or some folks that's never been out there who may be considering a hosted trip with us and you guys, what type of fishing can they expect in that August and September timeframe out there?
Yeah, that's I see you got some great pictures coming here of the Madison. That's awesome. So, fishing, we can't have any conversation about fishing without talking about the fact that it's different from year to year. Some years are warm years, some years are wet years. But traditionally, when you guys are here in August and early September, that's kind of our late summer terrestrial season. And, a lot of these pictures that we're seeing from the Madison, man, those are just epic hopper days. And, of course, you can't talk about hoppers without kind of saying the same disclaimer. Some years are banner hopper years. Some years aren't as good. We've been really lucky the last few years and had some wonderful hopper fishing. But, in addition to hoppers, when we get into the park, we're really lucky in our area. We've got a real diversity. There's the park right there. There's the Yellowstone. As you get into the park and get into the higher elevations, it might be late summer in the Madison Valley, and it might still be midsummer as you get up higher in the caldera up in the park. And so we can still see some hatches up in the park. We've had some fun chasing those hatches with you guys the last couple of years. But so depending on the year, depending on where we're at, it's a mix of sort of the late season hatches and terrestrial season. And then September, that September trip is fun because that's transition time. Every year in September, there's a shift. We all see it. Everyone will come into the shop one day and be like, man, it's fall, And so with that shift, brown trout like that one start to get squirrely and they start to move and, start to migrate a little bit, start to sniff their way into migratory tributaries and upstream and start to look at streamers. And so as we get into September, that's that transition where we're, late summer going into early fall, and we could see, fall hatches in addition to all the terrestrials and even the beginning of some really good streamer fishing.
Perfect. How is the snowpack this year? Because you really hit on the fact that every year is different, and I think all of us here kind of on our end understand the snowpack plays a big part in how much water you have. But how's the snowpack this year, and maybe educate some folks how that really affects y'all's fishing out there?
Yeah. Snowpack. We were just talking about snowpack because we really haven't had big snowstorms in January. January can be a month that's cold. We don't get a lot of snow. We'd like it to be a little bit higher than it is right now. It's all based on snow water content and percentages of those things. And we're probably sitting in that 70% of snowpack right now. We'd like to be closer to 100, honestly 100's an average year, and it'd be nice to be average right now instead of a little bit behind. But tomorrow or tonight at 11 o'clock, we have a storm that's supposed to come through for the next 6 days. And if we get the snow they're forecasting, it just erases, I'm not really that worried about it right now, but it just helps. It just pads the numbers.
What are you saying? 3 feet maybe?
Yeah.
3
feet coming.
Wow.
And that's really the difference between.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, that's the difference between 70% and 105%.
It is.
It's one storm.
It's one
You better
storm
have
away.
more than Fireball over there.
Yeah. No doubt.
Yeah. So
Yeah, the snowpack discussion, and obviously, we talk to people about snowpack all winter long, and it is. You're right. It's a big determinant of the water year that we're going to have, but you got to look at it in the big picture.
Well, and I would just add this. This area is so diverse. We have, as Steve was mentioning, in Yellowstone Park at 8,000 to 9,000 feet. Some areas benefit from less snow. Others, so we can move around from the Henry's Fork to the Madison, Gallatin, and into Yellowstone Park. And so I think that's one of the strengths of this area is how much water we have within, an hour and a half drive. And so depending on the year, we're making moves to fish what's prime, throughout the season.
Yeah.
And so snowpacks, obviously too much snow sometimes can make certain rivers that we like to fish in late June not fishable until mid-July. Too little means sometimes we're fishing them early. As you get into August, there's things in the park that can be prime, and there's a lot of places that we can move around.
Yeah, and so it's late January. We're gonna get another storm.
Yeah.
Ask me about snowpack in April.
Yeah.
And then we'll have a better idea. Right. But even then, I don't know when the salmon flies are gonna hatch on the Madison.
Guys,
the third week of June.
We've seen snow here every month of the year. So in July and August, I can remember snowstorms that came in for a weekend. It's abnormal to see, but I remember in August, like third week of August, where we had a couple inches of snow come in. And it's incredible.
It happens. So we get it, and we'll get more. And, I just want to go backcountry skiing in about 4 days.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Sounds like you'll be able to.
So
Yeah, well, we've been doing ski.
Yeah,
Steve and I've been poking around in backcountry skiing. Justin's been up skiing in the resort in Big Sky and with the family, and so it's not terrible. You just,
Yeah, it's early.
it's early season.
Yeah.
It's only January.
Yeah.
So
Swanee.
I think everybody focuses kind of on rivers when they think of Montana and stuff, but there's something kind of unique right there that y'all have with Quake Lake and Hebgen Lake. Can y'all kind of go in detail on that? Because I know we've done like some half and half days in there, and we just saw some pictures of Quake Lake flash through. So can y'all kind of give the listeners an idea of what that entails?
Yeah. I'm not sure which lake that is that you're talking about, but Hebgen Lake is. No, I'm just teasing. We're really fortunate to have some great still waters around here, and certainly the time of year that you guys have been around in August and that early September time. That's a really, really fun time to fish the still waters. And Hebgen Lake probably has more notoriety for the gulper fishing. And so for people that aren't familiar with gulper fishing, it's kind of a weird term, but Hebgen is a large tailwater reservoir. It backs up the Madison. It dams the Madison, and there's 3 really shallow arms, and those arms get tremendous weed growth. The weed growth supports a really good population of Calabatus mayflies, and those mayflies have really, really thick spinner falls in the mornings late in the summer. And so when we have those kind of dog days of summer where it's still and warm, you'll see just, tremendous spinner falls of Calabatus on the lake, and these big trout come up and feed on them. And they're large lake fish, we're fishing to 18 plus inch fish on average. And the term gulping comes from the sound that they make. They're such large fish that when they come up and rise, the water smacks the back of their mouth as they come back down, and they make an audible gulping noise. It's awesome. And so that's a really, a lot of people sort of have a sour taste in their mouth when you talk about lake fishing, and this is anything but, kind of sitting there, sedentary. It's really active, really challenging fishing. And then we get quite a bit of that down on Quake Lake also, Quake Lake being below Hebgen. Not as much bug life down there as you have on Hebgen, and so the true gulper fishing, we don't see that as much on Quake, but there's all sorts of other really fun stuff going on down there that keeps us busy, and you guys have gotten some great taste of that over the years.
Yeah, absolutely. That one was a fun one for sure. Remember that very well. Those spruce moths were quite active out there, and the fish keying in on those. The one thing that really makes this whole thing come together for us is the fact that you folks have some great guides that we've developed relationships through these trips. Tell us a little bit about about the guides and things like that, if you don't mind.
Justin, you want to give that a whirl?
Sure. I think going back to at the core of I'm sure your business as ours, it's people and relationships. And I think that our guides, really understand building a relationship. They're patient. They're great teachers. That was something I was going to mention in these trips, because we have so much water. People that maybe are thinking about doing this trip to Montana, Idaho, Yellowstone, and are saying, am I ready to do this trip? I would say yes. And we can cater our guides. We can cater the fishing to your ability or your client, the client's ability. And that's something all of our guides really understand is they're passionate about the sport. They enjoy teaching. There can be wade fishing, float fishing, stillwater fishing. And I think that's really one of our strengths here at Big Sky Anglers. Joe and John and Steve and I, we came from guiding and doing this for many years. And when we built Big Sky Anglers and built the guide staff, that at the core of us is our people. And I think our guides are among the best in the area. And so, great group of people who, take you fishing and know the waters throughout Yellowstone, Idaho, and Montana. And you guys want to add anything on that?
No, they're lifers, right?
Yeah,
they're guides that have been doing it and are in it, and some of them fish year round and guide year round, whether it's saltwater or Pacific Northwest for steelhead and salmon, or, Jonathan's in Chile all winter. Justin's been down south in Argentina tons of winters, and yeah, they're just into it. Yeah. Right. They're on your team. They want you to succeed.
Well, and that's the word too. I really think we've got a good team, and trips like these multi-day trips where we're living together as a group for 5 to 7 days, and that teamwork and camaraderie really comes out. And I think trips like these, that you guys put together at Tuck make that even more fun, and I think you see that even more.
Yeah.
And we look forward to those, right? Like, these are all friends, and so we look forward to being able to spend a bunch of days working together and doing this kind of stuff, because we don't always get to do that. A lot of times during the summer you're in the grind and you're go. And so it's fun to be able to spend it with, with people like Nicholas and Nicole and Earl and everybody that, it's fun.
Well, and you think after a long guide day, you're out fishing, and then you get to share a drink over the fire or dinner together, and it's just it's a really neat scene where you bond, like we were talking about. That relationship strengthens over dinner and campfire, following a fishing day, and so it's pretty special.
I have to echo that.
Well, I think one thing that really works well is the ability that we both have in expectations, setting goals high, setting expectations high for quality experiences, professionalism, and I think if you took it where you guys are in life and where we are in our lives and careers, I think they're pretty close, and we're all getting after it. We're working hard, and we want to be the best at what we do, and in the long run, the benefit is the guest. So, and I think everybody wins in that situation. Sorry, Shannon, go for it, man.
That's fine. The one thing with my group of guys, which are coming back in August, watch out, Steve. They're calling themselves the Outlaws. So
all right, good.
For what it's worth.
Hey, we had a blast last year. We'll do it again.
We well, a whitefish champion will be crowned for sure. But one of the things that they commented to me, not once, not twice, but several times, was the fact that yourself and Nicholas and Nicole, you stuck around. You had dinner with us, you interacted with us, and you built that relationship. And that's important. So you folks that may be considering, or you hadn't considered until you listen to this podcast about doing this, it goes above the fishing aspect of it. There's so much more into this. It's a total experience. So we don't want, lose that. These guys do a great job of teaching, outfitting, guiding, coaching, cheering, everything that you could ever ask for in a great package. And this is something that if you've thought about doing it, as one guy told me one time, he goes, if you have the means and you have the health, you better do it while you can. And there's a lot of truth to that. And if 2020 didn't prove it, I don't know what else will going forward.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
Man, I saw some amazing coaching skills on display this summer, last year with my father-in-law, John, in the boat with Steve. That was amazing.
I don't know what you're talking about, man. We were just fishing.
Man, that's what was great about it. I mean, he said something about the wind, and you responded, wind? That was a that's not wind.
Oh, mercy. Oh, heavens.
So, but in all seriousness, I mean, my father-in-law, John, he listens to this, and he's been on the show before too. He's got some balance issues, some weighting issues. And like all of us, we have some casting inabilities. And through all of that, he had an amazing experience, hooked up with trophy cuts, trophy rounds, missed more unicorns than anybody I've ever heard of. This is for you. Just talk to my father-in-law, John.
Yeah.
You're breaking up some, Dale, just so you know, man. We got most of it. I think we got the gist.
Absolutely.
Going back to LTE.
There you go. Now, I got to ask this, man. How many championship belts have y'all awarded out there at the Golden Stone and prior to that?
Oh, man. Yeah, I wish Jonathan was here to speak to that because, your group last year, it overlapped with the title belt crew. And,
that's it.
Boy, those guys have got a lot of years into that. This was just the first year that they were at the GSI. And we were super proud to have them there. And it was fun to share that with you guys. And I think that's going to be a repeat this coming year when you guys are there. I think everyone's going to be back. So
yeah, awesome. Here come the margaritas.
Yeah, watch out.
Watch out.
It's a great environment out there. You know, guests get to meet each other and things like that. It was a blast. Let's let everybody know kind of what a typical day is, what they can expect on a typical day of fishing out there, kind of the process and how all that goes out there.
Yeah. Well, with these groups, that time of year, we try to keep it as flexible as we can. We haven't had to deal with this yet with you guys. We've been really lucky, but sometimes that time of year we might be leaving early. Generally, we've been meeting you guys at the lodge about 7:30 or so. They've got coffee and breakfast out by 6:37. We'll spend some time around the lodge getting everything sorted out, and the guides will roll in, and we'll chat about who's going to go where and what we're going to do, and head out for the day. And that might be we might all head over to the Henry's Fork and go float the Box Canyon. We might split up a little bit. We might have one group go wade fish somewhere. We might all head up into the park. When we head out, we're out for the day, and generally we're getting back to the lodge late in the evening. And get back in, get cleaned up, cocktails, get some hors d'oeuvres, and then we've got dinner and some more cocktails and campfire time, and it's back to your cabin.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I mentioned, some years that time of year it can be warm, and we can adjust that schedule, and we might head out early and try to take advantage of some cooler temps, or we might get up early and try to cover some ground and get up into the park a little bit further. So we have a schedule, but we try to keep it flexible and cater to what you guys are interested in. And
some of those multi-day trips in August get interesting.
Yeah.
And two kind of different bodies of water.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Taking two fisheries in the same
area. Yeah. Well, we've done that a little bit with these guys, fishing the lake in the morning and then going down for a float.
That's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So, I think we really try to keep it flexible, but, just kind of cater to what you guys are into and the best fishing we can find.
Yeah. So, what one of you mentioned earlier about how it snowed every month out there on the weather record. What should people prepare for? Like, what should they maybe be ready for as far as what clothing they need to pack, maybe gear they need to bring, things like that? Kind of go through that.
Well, and that's what's so fun is how dynamic you guys can be.
I think we keep losing Dale there.
Yeah.
So y'all can go ahead and answer that there.
All right. Well, I'd say in August, is a month where we typically, wet wade. So, kind of light pair of pants, quick dry shirt, neoprene wading socks, wading boots. You're always going to have kind of a fleece jacket or puffy jacket for the evening because it does cool off. We're almost at 7,000 feet here in West Yellowstone. So that sun drops even in August. It's pretty chilly at night. Have a good rain jacket, and I recommend people bring waders because again, it can cool off in August. And you get some cold weather and you want to do some wade fishing and be comfortable. I would recommend having waders along. Is there anything I'm missing in August? Hopefully we're wet wading, but
right. I mean, if we get a little rain spell or whatever, a rainy morning in Montana in August is pretty chilly.
It's like your temps right now back home.
You might shed all that stuff come lunch.
Yeah, well, that's the key, right? Shed. It's just all about layers,
So you bring it, and if you need it, you have it, and I'd say September though. That's a month where you bring some long underwear and just in case. I mean, every September is a little different, but you bring a couple more layers and definitely waders and if you need it, you have it.
Yeah.
If not, we got it.
Yeah. and then, talking, if you guys want to talk a little bit about rods, I'd say 5 and 6 weight rods, mostly floating lines. Wouldn't hurt on a 6 weight if you wanted to bring a sink tip along. again, Steve mentioned migratory fish. Brown trout start moving around, and there's some places if people like throwing streamers, and sink tips sometimes can keep your fly at a certain depth. And but yeah, 5 and 6 weight rods. Be kind of the deal.
Yeah.
Both months.
You could throw a 4-weight in August for some of those park waters.
Yeah,
if you have it.
Yeah.
Sure.
We've done some Euro nymphing on the trips the last couple of years. The long rods. That's been fun.
Yeah.
But that's definitely more niche-y kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. 9.5, 9.6 is kind of the standard issue.
I do like in September. This is kind of one of these things that gets overlooked, but having your polarized glasses, having a couple different sets of lenses.
Oh yeah.
When you get into that September, if it's a little cooler, a little light, those light colored lenses really make a difference. And it's something, it's kind of one of those things that people forget when they show up later in the years. Have a couple different.
That's a great tip, because I remember I was fishing with Steve on the Lamar, me and Jack, and I can usually spot fish really well. And there was a huge cutthroat that Steve could see, and I couldn't see it to save my life. Jack finally caught it, but it was one of those things like, dude, I can't see it. But it was because the lens color of my glasses to his were that different that it made a world of difference for him to be able to visually see stuff. So that's a great tip that's probably lost a lot is how effective polarized lenses and the tint of them are.
Yeah.
So
let's just make that our guide tip of the week, because optics are huge.
They are.
If you can't see what you're chasing, you're casting, right?
That's it.
I mean, absolutely.
So what kind of? I know what probably most people that go to Yellowstone, one of the major things they go there for is wildlife, is to see that, and hopefully see the grizzly or wolf, which is probably like the most coveted thing to see in the park. But kind of go through that. What have you guys seen? And obviously y'all have been doing it for a long time, so you've seen a lot. But kind of some cool things that people could maybe expect. That's not necessarily a guarantee, but most likely they'll see that stuff when they're there.
Man, I mean, you've had grizzly bears at 10 feet, haven't you, Steve?
Yeah.
Holy
You won't see that though if you come on one of these trips. Yeah.
I'd say bison, elk, bighorn sheep.
Yeah.
But bison and elk especially, you have a really good chance at seeing, the bighorn sheep. Depending on the area, you have a shot at seeing them. Like you said, the grizzly bear or wolves are a little bit harder. I mean, sometimes it's just luck too. I mean, that's the thing about being in Yellowstone that's so incredible, is when you're in there, every day's different. You'll guide. You go up to Lamar Valley, and one group happens to just see the wolf pack out, and the bison, are in their herds and kind of in rut, and they happen to see the wolves. And you go back the next day, and just Yellowstone's amazing like that.
Yeah,
it just it adds to the whole experience.
Yeah, to me, the bison is probably the most iconic animal in the park. Sure. I mean, you've got bears and wolves, but I mean, a big bull bison in August ripping around in the dust and muscles just exploding out of its skin, and it's all ticked off, and that's pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
Dale, when you were up in that Lamar Valley, were you guys did you guys run into some bison? Were they around you?
I don't think you can hear us.
Dale, we lost Dale, but I can tell you that when I was up there with my group, I was out there in the stretch of water by myself, and then they flanked me, and all I had was bear spray.
Let's wait for this delay.
Go ahead, Dale.
No, I'm here.
Take it, Dale.
Are you there, buddy?
Isn't that something though? When you're fishing, you have those bison around, and yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
It is, man. It's crazy, and if you don't have your head on a swivel,
I'm here. It might take a minute to come through though.
There's Dale again. If you don't have your head on a swivel, like all of a sudden they're like up on you, like they just kind of meander around, and
right.
They don't care you're there. They're just they're doing their thing, and you stay out of their way, basically.
Yeah, you've got one eye on the bison herd that's 500 yards away, and one eye on your fly, and you're trying to keep everything. Yellowstone's special like that. The wildlife,
It is. It's, and we've seen wildlife even. I think on one of my trips we saw a bull moose on the Madison. You know, we've seen golden eagles and bald eagles, and you know, you just never know. Like y'all said, I mean, some days you see it, some days you don't. I think one of our trips, I even saw an eagle pick a fish out of the water, then he had to swim to shore because he couldn't lift the fish up. So,
yeah.
You know, you just never know what you'll see out there, which is kind of cool. Which, I mean, that's anywhere, but, you know, out there it's just a little bit more prolific, the amount of wildlife that's around.
Hey, do those birds practice?
One of my favorite things is watching Osprey.
Sorry, the delay's a little lagging.
I don't think they practice the catch and release, but it's a side effect.
Yeah.
They're not trying to.
Yeah. I love watching the Osprey hunt. And I've a couple times seen an Osprey take a fish, and the eagle is off to the side.
Oh, yeah.
And the eagle waits for the Osprey to do all the work. It dives down. Osprey's got the fish flying off. And then this eagle comes right out of the tree and, you know, tries to get the Osprey to drop the fish. And that's really something. Yeah. I've seen that a handful of times. And,
right.
Yeah.
Into something.
Yeah, sometimes you get a fish on the Madison, you know, or I've seen a handful other places, but the Madison that has Osprey talon marks, you know, like a brown's been, you know, hit when it was, you know, younger and dropped, and, you know, the fish go through a lot. You think of winters and you know, all the things trying to eat them. Otters, you know, you'll run into a group of otters. You ever run into otters on the river, don't try to fish behind them.
Yeah. That's game over.
Yeah.
I had that happen to me this summer. It was like, well, let's walk away.
Yeah. I remember guiding this little stream in the park. So I love fishing little water in the park. You know, there's so many little, you know, kind of tributaries where the fish aren't big. Maybe you get a 14-incher, it's a big fish, but you might get a bunch of 8 to 12-inch beautiful fish. You're by yourself hiking around. So there's plenty of that too in Yellowstone that gets overlooked. But I remember taking this family up to this little stream in Yellowstone, and it was kind of a go-to. I had these two boys, and I knew it was, you know, I'd been there 2 weeks prior, and I wanted to teach them how to, you know, catch a bunch of fish and just, you know, get drifts. And I couldn't buy a fish in these pools. And I'm going, what is happening? So I left the two boys, and I walked up 200 yards, and there were 3 otters we were fishing behind. And they had cleaned it out. So I had to grab the boys and hike above, you know, and that was, yeah, you don't want to fish around otters.
Yeah, it's the same way here. We have that same problem. The otters.
Do
in
you?
the creeks, man. Yeah, we see them every now and then, and you know,
Y'all's are a lot bigger than ours.
Well, yeah, they can do some damage to a little stream, huh? Yeah. So what are some of the things that, you know, when you guys come out and fish that you guys think about like wanting to do? What are things that, you know, are really kind of, when you get here that rivers you like to fish, hatches you like to try to fish? What are things that stand out to you?
Am I allowed to say some of the rivers? Like, is there?
Yeah, you bet.
Anything off? Man, when me and Shannon, go ahead, maybe. What?
Clark's Creek.
Sure.
We're good, you think?
Yeah.
Okay. When we went and fished the Yellowstone, that was, and I wanted to say what part of the Yellowstone. Man, that was just sight fishing. That was pretty cool. Yeah. Like, that's probably my favorite spot. And I know that's not, you know, an all the time thing, so don't go to and think like every time you go to Yellowstone you're going to be able to do that exact thing. But
sure,
that's pretty special to be able to do that and catch some of those big Yellowstone cutthroat. So that's probably my favorite thing that we've done out there.
Okay.
Besides Steve putting my wife on a huge brown on the Madison, that's probably my best memory. That was her first true, like, hook it, fight it, land it all by herself, and it was a big old brown on the Madison. So those are probably my two top things. So
cool.
Right on.
Cool. That was a fun fish. That was a fun day.
You boys?
Dale?
Well, go ahead, Shannon. It might take 3 minutes for mine to come through.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. You know, I have to echo what Bobby said. That was my first time ever out there, so that always sticks out in my mind tremendously. And thank you, Nicholas, for that awesome experience. Quake Lake was quite different. Fly fishing on a lake like that, I'd never done that before. Growing up here in the mountains of western North Carolina, more specifically the Blue Ridge and the Great Smoky Mountains, you don't do that. My cup of tea is more small streams, dry flies, things like that. So that was definitely an eye-opener and entirely different. I also like, the small streams, last year going up into the Lamar Valley area and Soda Butte and things like that. That was fun up through there. But, floating in the Henry's Fork, I knew that my group of guys, they knew that they weren't good anglers. They said that they sucked, and they're okay with that. But, they will
Far
tell
from
you
it. Far from it.
That's what they say. You ought to hear them talk. But they said, they really like that, and they want to do the ranch because we know we're bad. You ought to see these emails they send me. We know we're bad, but tell them we want to go anyway, just for the experience out there. So I tell anybody, you get out there, it's all good stuff. You don't have to worry about it.
Sure.
You will find a memory somewhere along the way,
Nice.
or maybe the memory will find you instead. Maybe that's how it should go.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I think for me, it's the renewed challenge. It's new water, and it doesn't matter if we're a guide here in Western North Carolina or a customer. We can go up there and get schooled on the Madison, or blank in some holes on some of the park waters until we find where they're at. And I just love that challenge. And it's what I was kind of touching on earlier. It just took 30 or 40 seconds for it to come through is how dynamic it is, where we can do this body of water one day and we're focusing on this style, this format. And then the next day we're going to go here and we're going to use this skill. So it's like you bring the entire tool belt to the table here with the waters you have. And it's so much fun. And I think, maybe the second greatest thing is I don't see any rhododendron when I'm fishing up there. I love it.
That's it, man. Rhododendron are unforgiving on flies. You hit those and it's gone. So, that's a good point. That is one thing to say. It's not everything, but it is. If you've never been out west and fished, and this isn't just Montana necessarily, it's a lot more open in a lot of areas. Like the vegetation is very, they're still there. Trust me, you're going to lose flies, but it's definitely different than here. So you definitely got to go check it out, whether it's with a trip with us or doing just a single day with Big Sky or another state, whether you go to Colorado or something like that. But definitely memorable stuff. So
yeah.
Well, do you guys have anything else to add before we close out here? Or?
Man,
I'll tell you one thing, if you don't mind. This is a whole separate podcast, but just touch on the idea and what those pictures are behind you there in the video. I know some of that's from South America and stuff, but just kind of real quick, a couple minutes.
Justin,
yeah,
take that.
Well, yeah, so this travel, this is kind of our basement, and this is kind of our travel lounge. We have a really cool library. We have some old maps from the original Bud Lilly shop, and so this is where we all kind of hang out. When we want to get away from the top floor. And behind us we have images. That one that's just kind of this guy back here. This is one of my favorites. That's an Argentina image with that aqua blue water, the big willow trees. We've got some Argentina and Chile are kind of behind us with a little bit of saltwater mixed in.
Lago Yelcho.
Yeah. So Jonathan, one of our business partners, is down in Chile right now guiding. He was able to. Chile kind of is trying to open up out of countries in South America. Chile is giving it a shot. So he's down there for the next couple months and guiding on some of these waters that you see in the pictures. And I spent a lot of time in Argentina. My last 15 plus years I've spent my winters guiding in Argentina, and so we that's kind of what we really have done and know. But then we also do some saltwater, Alaska, New Zealand, so it's just kind of a fun picture gallery, and just stuff that we've done. And we love to travel, and just get out and fish. And so that's kind of what we've done most winters, is get out and do this stuff year round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, that over decades, we've all done that for a long time. And that's kind of grown into sort of the other arm of Big Sky Anglers is this, growing travel business. And so we've all hosted trips and we put together custom itineraries and help people put together gear for trips when they're, traveling to different places. And so, we've talked with you guys at Tuck and man, we had some big plans last spring, didn't we?
Oh yeah. We've talked about that on the podcast, how bummed myself and Dale were.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
We were like 2 weeks from flying to Argentina. And
I know.
Yeah. It's going to happen, guys.
But, yeah.
We're going to do that.
Yeah. We're going to press play on that soon. And really, really look forward to sharing that stuff with you guys and, bringing some folks down there and putting some trips together. So yeah, that's kind of our story down there. We our wintertime months are busy, hosting trips and putting trips together to a lot of places, but South America, Argentina, Chile, that's kind of the home base for us. That's sort of where.
That's cool. Well, we'll definitely
focus.
We'll definitely have to have y'all on and do a whole separate podcast on that also.
Yeah.
Dive deep into that. And
yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, let's do it.
I don't have the photographs and stuff for that, so I might have to get y'all to send them to me so we can flash them up and all that fun stuff to make it good. But we'll definitely plan to do that so people can kind of feel that experience and what that's about and everything.
Awesome.
So.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, so just for you folks out there that may be in your car or watching this on YouTube, if you're driving your car, I hope you're listening, not trying to watch if you're driving, of course. Get the disclaimer out of the way. But if you're interested in a trip like this, feel free to reach us out here at the shop at 828-488-3333. Or you can go to our website, tuckflyshop.com. We actually have the travel tab. You can click on the travel tab and get the information. We only have a few spots left for the trips this fall, so we're just want to make that out there. So if you are,
I think we got one for we've got 2 trips in August. One is completely booked. The other one, I think we have 1 spot left, and then the trip in September, I think there's. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dale. I think there's 3 spots left on that one.
That's correct.
So if you guys or girls out there want to jump on it, just give us a call. We'll get you set up and go through the process and all that. So, sorry, Shannon, to interrupt you.
No, that's fine. I just wanted to get that information out there. Do it sooner rather than later, for sure on that. And take a great, advantage of this. If you've never been before, it doesn't get any easier than this. You get picked up at the airport and everything else is, you're catered to tremendously. The guys at Big Sky Anglers do a great job of taking care of everybody out there. So before we close, I want to hit a fishing report here, guys. Dale, you want me to take the fishing report?
Yeah, I've been in quarantine, so I ain't been doing much.
So we got 2.5 inches of rain last night. But with that being said, the weather this week, we're going to cool off. It was unseasonably warm today. It will cool off. But the weekend, the temperatures are going to be really nice too. February's looking fantastic right off the bat now. We've seen some dry flies today, but you can expect, some small woolly boogers are going to do the trick for you. Prince nymphs, pheasant tails, hare's ears, copper johns, zebra midges in various colors, tungsten surveyors, IDKs. Dry flies, we're seeing activity on some black caddis and BWOs as well. And then also in the streamers, the dungeons have been working good. The crelixes have been working good as well out there. Water temps certainly increased with this rain system that came through. So our national park waters, which were in the 30s, kind of warmed up a little bit. Surprisingly, today up above 40 to about 46. So I look for that to drop and get a little bit normal, a little bit back to the 30s, here in the next week or so. But seen a lot of folks catching fish, dry flies, definitely in those wild waters, more on areas where the sun was on the water. I really stress to you right now, if you're doing some dry fly stuff, you need to have a much longer leader. A 7.5-foot leader, 9-foot leader is not going to get the job done. A 12 to 15-foot is going to do it, and really watch the shadow. Make sure the sun's not coming from the backside, so you're casting that shadow on the water. You will definitely spook out some trout for sure. But, people are booking trips, so if you want to get up here and fish with us, hit us up there as well on our website, or also give us a call.
Very cool, man.
All right.
You're pointing
Awesome.
at me. What do I need
guys.
to do?
No, just want to take the moment to thank Justin and Joe and Steve for joining us here, taking the time out of their busy schedule out in West Yellowstone. Dale putting this podcast together, and look forward to seeing you guys here in some months down the road and making this bad boy another memory and some fun stories for sure.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Well, thanks.
Thank you very
guys
much
for inviting us, and thanks for all the years of fun trips and fellowship and friendship, and we look forward to a lot more. Look forward to seeing you guys this summer.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
All right. It's time to close this bad boy out.
Well, you guys have a good week. We'll talk again soon.
All right, guys. Take care.
See you.
Thanks.
That's awesome.
Folks, that wraps up another exciting and informative episode of the Tuckcast with a Splash of Bourbon, presented by Tuckasegee Fly Shop and Guide Service, located at 3 Depot Street, Bison City, North Carolina, and 530 West Main Street, Sylva, North Carolina. Be sure to follow the crew on Facebook at Tuckasegee Fly Shop, Instagram at Tuck Fly Shop, and on YouTube at Tuckasegee Fly Shop. If you'd like to support the shop, be sure to check out www.tuckflyshop.com to purchase your official Tuckasegee Fly Shop logo gear, book a guide trip, or even check out some StreamFlow information. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to email them to us at info@tuckflyshop.com or give us a call, 1-828-488-3333. For Coach Del Diesel Collins, Bobby the Bearded Wonder Bennett, I'm your host, Shannon Big Mess Messer, and we will catch you next time on the Tuckcast with a Splash of Bourbon. Y'all catch a few fish out there, won't you? Y'all take care.